All over the world, money is a medium of exchange that is used to facilitate transactions for goods and services. Thus, it plays a crucial role in the growth of any economy. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, says in recent times, currency management has faced several daunting challenges that have continued to grow in scale and sophistication, with attended and unintended consequences for the integrity of both the CBN and the country. Owing to these challenges, the Apex Bank announced the redesigning of the 100, 200, 500, and 1,000 currency notes as a measure to stem substantial hoarding of banknotes and ensure financial stability of the nation's legal tender. The currency redesign and its implication on the Nigerian economy is a focus of this episode on Frontiers. I am Obiageli Ugoke. Our guest is Isa Yuguda, a seasoned banker, economist, and one-time governor of Bauchi State, who has also served the nation on ministerial capacity. Glad to have you on Frontiers.
Thank you very much.
The program continues shortly. Once more, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Now, the currency redesign is costing Nigeria about 2.73 trillion naira. Some Nigerians think it's costing the country too much, especially with the present state of affairs economically. What's your take?
I think those that think that way, I believe they are correct. 2.7 trillion is a lot of money, and given the situation in the economy, both the domestics that we have, I think we can ill afford paying 2.7 trillion just for printing of currency. I don't think it's the right time. And of course, there are many other things associated to the economy that once these monies are released for the payment of printing, it will further trigger a lot more things that will make it very difficult for the economy. And right now, I believe the domestic debts are almost hitting the roof, and we've seen them being published in papers. And of course, we have also very huge, external debts, which also needs to be serviced. So much as there are advantages of the printing, but sadly, this is not the right time, given that the economy is in a very, very, very tight, situation.
As a banker of great repute, can you tell us what would be the advantages of the redesigning of the banknotes?
Well, the obvious advantages to the redesign and of course introduction to the general public is of course the obvious fact that it will encourage the banking culture, because hitherto people don't want to bank, and we can see the quantum of money in circulation now hitting almost 3-point-something trillion or thereabout, or even more. And you can see the bulk of it is in circulation is under the pillows of the public, and of course the bulk of it is not in the banking system. So at least for one, it will encourage people now to bank, and secondly, the money in circulation will be, the substantial part of it will be in the vaults of the banks, not under the pillows of the public. Money today, they say almost like 82% of the money in circulation is in the hands of the public, which is very, very unfortunate for the economy. It will certainly create a lot of distortions in managing the economy, especially the fundamentals, the interest rates, the exchange rates, and of course even the borrowing rates. So if we mop up this money into the banking system, the liquidity will be there. And once you have liquidity, that is to say, money will be available in the vaults of the bank to lend to the public. And the central bank will be in a better position to manage, the interest rates, exchange rates, and so on and so forth, given that the money has been pooled and is in circulation within the banking industry, not outside the banking industry. So not only that, another obvious advantage is the fact that there is a lot of money laundering going on in the economy of the Nigerian economy. A lot of scams here and there, stealing and looting of public funds, and even in the private sector, people are engaged in taking away money illegally, fraudulently. And these monies, they are the ones that you find under the pillows, because they are hiding them and with the view to laundering them. So, and these monies are not productive. When I say they are not productive, it means that they are not, these monies are created not out of productive activities. That is to say, job-creating activities. They are just money stolen and stacked. So they are not useful to the economy, only useful to those who stole them. So this time around, I believe if you have the courage to bring them out, the poor man will have a reason to utilize them through the banking system, because there will be enough now to lend. Because in general terms, we have high exchange, interest rates today, of course, high borrowing rates, because the funds
from the banking system.
Yes, the liquidity is not there for the banks to lend out. So the money is not there. Because if you deposit, like, say, 10 naira, you're expected to keep a certain percentage for the customer who will come and withdraw. So if you take 10 naira and deposit it today in the bank, your bank account, savings account, when we were in the bank about 20 years ago, the liquidity ratio was about 30%. So 30 naira goes and keeps it for the customer who has deposited the money in case he needs it so that he can withdraw. And we have cash reserve, which was about 12%. So technically, you have just about, out of 10 naira, you have about just 58 naira to trade with. So with that 58 naira, you have to trade with it, pay the deposit rate, that is the savings rate, to the customer who deposited the 10 naira, and then also you trade with it also to pay your overheads and salaries and wages and so on and so forth. And then also declare profit to pay dividends to your investors. So you see, it's a very tight situation the banks find themselves, because the money is not there, because they take the money from the public at a high cost. So, and the bulk of the money that you see in circulation today, because it is hot money, it's normally not kept in savings accounts, and it's normally kept in current accounts. And a wise banker who adheres to regulation would not want to lend money from his current account deposits, because anytime the customer can appear and issue. So you can't plan for that money. So, and the bulk of the money in the banking system in the current accounts. So you can see that the obvious advantage of having these monies, brought into the banking system is to make available money for banks to lend to the general public to stimulate the economy for production and job creation. So not only that, it will check the money laundering activities in the country. Once you have the money, within the banking system, any transaction you do is normally recorded, and is electronically, transmitted. And there are records for that. From where the money is and from where it is going and for what purpose. But if it is in the hands of the public, the bulk of it, as you keep it, it exchanges hands with a lot of crooks. So many illicit transactions are financed. So even the drugs, this business will be choked by this exercise. So it's a very, very good exercise. Like I said, It's very expensive to do it now, given the situation we find ourselves. And of course, this situation has been created by a lot of factors, including, of course, failure of regulations on the part of the regulatory body, that's the central bank, and also the operators too. They are also they have their own faults too, because a lot of things are happening in the banking industry. Today we see a situation where you have almost like 3 trillion, naira in AMCON, that is Asset Management Company, taken away from banks which ordinarily are supposed to be liquidated. But taxpayers' money is used in funding these bad loans, and they're taking off to AMCON at the expense of the taxpayer. Like I believe AMCON was set up ostensibly to raise bonds to finance, banks that have these toxic assets so that can take them off. But I don't think that, the general public or Nigerian banks have the capacity to invest that amount of bonds to raise money to fund AMCON. So I want to strongly believe that maybe the central bank is involved in doing the funding, which is taxpayers' money.
One of the reasons adduced by the central bank governor for the redesign of the currency is because of the substantial hoarding of the bank notes. What is responsible for too much money outside the banking system?
Well, I think when we left the banking industry, I mean, money is outside the banking system was in the region of about between 52 to 60%. So at least 40-something% was within the banking system. So things are really gone bad, and that explains what I'm telling you, that these monies are monies born out of corrupt practices. Nobody wants to put corrupt money. It can easily be traced.
And in the bank?
Of course, yes. And they cannot afford to showcase it, because if it is flagged off in the financial, regulatory unit of the central bank, every day record transactions. And if ordinarily a public servant, a civil servant, or somebody who ordinarily is doing a business, and you trace the kind of business he's doing, which confirms that he's not supposed to have that kind of money, it's a problem for him. So they rather, keep it or change it into the dollar. They pump it into the foreign exchange market, and unfortunately, that's what drives the exchange rate to the roof. So it is something that is quite worrisome, but I think eventually, we may get to where we'll find the solution. So there are things that are very complicated, but I think I strongly believe it's a failure of regulation. That is why it's happening the way it is happening. Because there is no reason why you have that quantum of money in circulation and you say 80% of it in the hands of the public. Who are the public? And I assure you, it's not more than, that monies are held with not more than 5% of Nigerian population, even less. So you can see that the masses of the country might not have up to maybe the 10% of that 82%. So, or even the 2%. We can take maybe 75% is under the control of just very few, individuals and groups, companies. And I think it is important that Nigerians have to come to realities, and that this cannot continue, because in normal economies, economies that really make progress, there must be controls, and people must be transparent. And without the transparency and the controls, I'm afraid we cannot continue like that. It might lead to a complete collapse of the economy if we are not careful. So it's a very worrisome situation, but I'm worried that we are still going ahead, even though Mr. President has approved. But I'm still worried if we can pay this quantum of money when we are heavily indebted, and when some state governments are not even paying salaries, and so on and so forth. So I think the financial, the people who are managing the economy of our country, I think they should think twice before
What factors would you say affect the value of a country's currency?
Well, essentially is the how well the economy is performing. You see, the value of your currency is a function of the strength of your economy as it relates to the reserve strength of your country. The higher your foreign reserves, the higher the probability that your currency will be a strong currency, because not so much impact in terms of trading and trade and exchange between Nigeria and other countries. Not so much would affect the strength of your reserves. So the higher the reserves, the better your currency. And of course, the strength of your currency too depends on the productivity of your economy. How productive is your economy? Are your industries working? Are you exporting? So as you export, you save a lot of foreign exchange, because you're not using it to import. I give you an example today. We were importing cement. Today, Dangote is producing all the cement we need, and he's exporting. So you can see that the money we are using in importing the cement, we are reserving it of our foreign reserves. Also, the money he's earning from the exports are also kept in our reserves. So we make use of it in the reserves, and when he needs the money, we give it to him. So you can see that with a strong export-based economy, the stronger will be the value of your currency, and it continues in that manner. So, and in the same manner that you manage your interest rates, your exchange rates, it impacts also on the productivity of your industries. Because the higher the interest rates that you have within the economy, they will impact negatively on the performance of your industries, your production farms, because they borrow from banks. And if they borrow expensive money, the net result is where you have them choking. And some of them, they go bankrupt as a result of high charges from the banks and so on and so forth. So, but if you have friendly, interest rates and exchange rates, your manufacturing base will flourish, and you have more people employed, and you export, and your currency gets stronger and stronger.
Okay, we'll pause here for a while. Okay. This is Frontiers, and we are taking a look at the currency redesign and its implication on Nigeria's economy. The discussion continues after this timeout. Stay tuned. It's glad to know you are still there. Now, let's take a look at the inflation. Inflation in Nigeria, we've seen it increasing. For the straight 8 months, it's been on the increase. Like we had 20.77% in September, from 20 to 52% in the month of August. Will the currency redesign solve inflationary pressure in Nigeria?
Well, I hope so. But at least maybe in the medium term. But I know in the short run we will suffer the cost of paying for the printed currency, so which is going to impact negatively on even the exchange rate, and because more money is going to be pumped to chase, the foreign exchange market. More naira is going to be available, or we'll take part of our reserves to pay for the printing if it is going to be printed outside the country, and that further weakens our reserves base. But if it so happens that the inflation is there, and of course it has been increasing, as you have said, you can explain it from 2 points of view. A situation where there is inflation, they say there is no non-inflationary growth. You will imagine that the economy is growing. This is a theory in economics, but even in practice it does happen, because the central bankers manipulate the inflation there are times, and also the interest rates based on how the economy is going. In the event that they want to improve employment, there might be need to manage inflation, because you need more people on the job. So if you say you will not manage the inflation, the growth will not be there. And if you say you will hold on to inflation, in fact there may even be zero growth. But as you manage, allow the inflation, and you witness that there are jobs created, factories are working, then it is something that is appropriate, and this is what we want. So don't say that you cannot have inflation. It's just a normal thing, but it needs to be managed, not to the point where it doesn't make meaning to the quality of life of the citizens. So, and I'm afraid probably because of the challenges that we have today, which relates to the global economy all over the world, there are crises here and there. Our own inflation, I think, might also be tied to, the global economic scenario, where you have crises here and they're triggered by the Ukrainian and Russian war. So these are some of the challenges that we see, and of course, the inflation we have to manage. It's the responsibility of the central bank to do that. And of course, when eventually they get the money in circulation inside the vaults of the bank, they will be in a better position to manage interest rates and inflation.
Let's look at the deadline now. The new and existing currencies are to remain legal tender, right? As it is already in circulation. And the central bank has given until January 31, 2023, when the existing currency shall cease to be legal, a legal tender. What's your take about the period allotted for this exercise?
I think it's short, given the geography of our country, the availability of the necessary infrastructure as it relates to roads, and of course inland waterways. We had very good networks, and probably airports all over the country with helipads and airstrips. We could be able to do that. And not only that, the financial institutions are not widespread within the country. There are so many rural areas that are underbanked. So you go to some states, you count the number of rural banks. I mean, it's just a pity. And the poor man, there are some who will have to trek maybe a distance on donkeys or on bicycles, in the case may be in the south, for almost like 10, 15 kilometers before they can access a bank. And he may have been stocking his money under his pot or under his pillow and would want to change it. And also, given the inefficiency in the banking system today, I'm afraid that is the true situation. I've observed it, and I've also discussed with many bankers. The efficiency level and even the capacity of their human resources is not like it used to be. So I'm afraid they may not be able to, carry out this exercise within the time frame that the central bank wants them to carry, to the satisfaction of our poor people out there. And we don't want a repeat of a situation in the past where there was this currency change and many people suffered the fate of losing their monies. And in fairness, therefore, we would encourage, appeal to the central bankers to extend the period so that unless otherwise they want to be punitive, the poor man out there, they should make a survey to ensure that everybody banks in his money. And of course, it's to their own advantage. Even though I know, like I said, the monies, 80% of the monies are hot monies, unproductive monies, useless money to the economy of Nigeria, because it's not been used to produce, it's not productive money. Money you keep under your pillow, how productive is it? Because you are supposed to invest it. Money is supposed to be invested, not saved. That is what we are taught in business schools. And that is what is supposed to be in practice.
We appreciate you for giving us and insights on the currency redesign. In fact, you've exhausted everything as the banker you are and an economist put together. We appreciate your time with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We have been taking a look at the currency redesign and its implications on the Nigerian economy. And our guest has been an experienced banker, economist, and former Governor Bauchi State, Isa Yuguda. Thanks for watching. I am Obiageli Ngoke.